everyone, it's Shari Carroll for Simons'sStamp.com, and I have a great tag that I've created using some Tim Holtz products called 'Tis the Season. This is part of the Tracy McNeely's 25 Days of Christmas tags, and we're kicking that off for her. So I am starting off with the Tim Holtz Distress tag as the base, and I'm also using some of his paper dolls, and this is a really great pack of these paper dolls. There are 54 pieces in all, and these are all winter themed. They have Christmas trees and bundled up clothing on all the people, so it's a really fantastic set, especially for the winter. For my tag, I've chosen one of the larger boys and then a little boy and little girl together, and I'll put those three together for the tag. I'm also using the Tim Holtz Christmas paper stash, and I'm using the snowflake paper. It's a really great color, probably one of my favorite colors. And I'll be adding this to the base of the tag. To glue this down in place, I'm using the Distress Collage Medium and a paintbrush, and I've just grabbed a really generous amount and I've covered the entire base of that tag, and I'll wipe off some of the excess. And now I can lay my paper in place. I'm not going to put it down completely down to the bottom of the tag, but just up a little bit, maybe about an inch up, and now I can press this down. And once I have this in place, I'll let this dry and then I can trim off the excess. And again, using the collage medium, I'm just adding some to the bottom, and I have this other piece of paper and I have trimmed that up just a little bit so I can work with it a little bit easier. And I've put that just at the bottom, and now I can trim this up. I'm using the Tim Holtz Pines stencil and also archival potting soil ink, and I'm using the archival ink because I'll be doing another treatment over the top of these pine trees. So I'll line this up onto the left side of my tag a little bit until I have this to where I want it, and I'll blot into the ink pad with my blending tool and pounce into the stencil until I have the amount of color and the trees that I want onto the background of my tag. I've cleaned my stencil off, and now I'm using the Ranger texture paste, and this is transparent matte, and I'm going to line up my stencil right over the trees that I have inked up. And once I have the texture paste on, I'll be adding some of the Distress Rock Candy glitter. I'm using the back side of my palette knife and just rubbing it right over that stencil. I'm not doing perfect trees, and I'm not covering the entire stencil. I'm still working to the left area. So once I have my stencil removed, I am adding my Rock Candy Distress glitter, and that will stick to all the texture paste that is on that tag. Everything is dry now, and I've added some foam tape to the back of my little boy and little girl, and I'm putting them right on top of that older boy so they stack up and have a little bit of dimension. Before I stick everything together, I thought it would look nice if I added some trimmings, and this is the Tim Holtz. It's the red and cream trimmings, and there's a lot of different patterns that you can use. So I have just picked out one of the bottom ones. It reminds me of really warm wool socks. So I'm adding this to that seam area, and I'm just going to use my tiny attacher just to attach that. So I'll put a staple on each side of that ribbon, and then I can trim the ends with my scissors. I'm ready to put my family of kids on, and I've removed some of that, the backing to my foam tape, and I'm pressing that down just mainly in the areas that I don't have the glitter so that I know it'll stick in place really well. I'm using some glue to the back of one of these chip quotes, and this is a Christmas chip quote, and I've edged it a little bit with some of the potted soil archival ink so that it's edged a little bit, looks a little bit more distressed. I have tied 3 of the little bells, these are the tiny bells from Tim Holtz, onto a piece of twine. And this is a pack. They come with a whole bunch of different types of bells, the round ones and then regular shaped bells. Really cute, super great for the holidays and for your cards and tags. So I've just put those onto some regular twine, and also I've used a piece of the Tim Holtz linen trimmings, and I will put these together. And then I'll just secure this with a knot, like an overhand knot at the top. I felt like my tag needed a little bit more, so I have die cut some of the greens, and I've used more of the pine needle type greens from Tim Holtz. These are the Thinlits set. There are a bunch of different greens that you could use for these. I just chose this one. And I thought I would cover these with Collage Medium and then sprinkle them a bit with the Rock Candy Distress glitter. I'm using just a paintbrush to use the Collage Medium just to brush that on, and then I have some scrap paper that I can use as a catch, and I just sprinkle that over those pine needles. And once everything is dry, I can use a little bit of glue on the back of my pine needles and go ahead and place it under the legs of the family, and that gives it a nice little snowy effect. And it all ties together with those trees and the glitter on the background paper. Here's a better close-up of the tag. I really love how everything came together, and just the hints of the red along with that beautiful pool paper from the Tim Holtz collection, along with the brown with the trees and all the glitter. I hope I've given you some inspiration for the 25 days of Christmas tags, which I'll leave a link for you in the description box below, and thanks so much for watching.